Have you ever been so deep into a task that the rest of the world just disappears? You're performing at your absolute best, like everything is just clicking into place? Well, that's called the flow state. And the best part? It's not some random magic trick. It's a skill you can actually learn. And today, we're going to break down exactly how you can find it.
Yeah, let's start right there, with that feeling. Come on, you know the one I'm talking about. Just take a second and think back. Maybe you were playing an instrument, or deep in some code, or maybe it was just an amazing conversation you were having.
And suddenly, your whole sense of time just warps. You look up at the clock thinking maybe 20 minutes have gone by, but nope, it's been hours.
All the noise, the phone buzzing, even that little voice in your head that's always worrying about something, it's all gone. Just silence. Faded completely into the background.
And in that space, your performance is just effortless. It's like you're not even thinking, you're just doing. Every single action flows perfectly into the next. You are, without a doubt, at the absolute top of your game. So, that incredible experience? That's the flow state. It was first named by the psychologist Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, who called it the science of optimal experience. But here's the real game changer. Getting into flow isn't some happy accident. Thanks to some brand new research, we now know it's a journey, a predictable one, that we can actually map out.
So what is this journey? Well, a really cool recent study looked at elite athletes and musicians, and it breaks down the whole experience into this clear three-phase process. And trust me, understanding these phases, that's the secret to unlocking flow whenever you want.
All right, phase one. Look, flow doesn't just pop out of nowhere. It all starts with preparation. Think of it like a mental and physical warm-up. And this is where the research found something really interesting, a big difference in how top performers get themselves ready.
So, check this out. The study found that athletes tend to focus inward. They're tuning into their bodies, their breath, their own headspace. But musicians, they do the opposite. They focus outward, on the audience, the conductor, the whole vibe of the room.
But let's be real. This prep phase isn't always some Zen-like state. A lot of the time, it's actually filled with anxiety and nerves. I mean, listen to this quote from one of the musicians in the study. That pressure can be a massive wall stopping you from getting into flow.
So what do you do about that pre-performance anxiety? Okay, here's a super powerful, practical tool, the 4-7-8 breath. It's simple. You breathe in through your nose for 4 seconds, hold it for 7, and then exhale slowly through your mouth for a full 8 seconds. This isn't just wishful thinking. It actually triggers your body's natural relaxation response. It's a total physiological hack to calm your nerves.
Okay, so you've prepped, you've calmed your nerves. Now comes phase two, entry. This is that crucial moment, the transition from getting ready to actually being in the zone. So how do you make that leap? Well, the people in the study said it comes down to 3 key things. First, you need crystal clear goals. You have to know exactly what you're trying to do. Second, you have to be all in, your complete undivided attention on the task. And third, you got to feel like you're in control, like you've got the skills to meet the challenge head on.
And that last point brings us to maybe the most important idea in all of this, the challenge-skill balance. It's simple, really. Look at this chart. If the task is too easy for your skills, what happens? You get bored. But if the challenge is way too high for your skills, instant anxiety. Flow, well, flow happens in that magical sweet spot right in the middle, where a really tough challenge is perfectly matched by your skills.
Okay, so how do you actually create that sweet spot for yourself, like in your everyday work? You build a deep work routine. Here's how. 1. Define a super specific, challenging goal. 2. Prepare your space. Get rid of every single distraction. I mean everything. 3. Set a timer. And 4. For that chunk of time, you give that one task your absolute 100% undivided attention.
But you know, as great as it is, no flow state lasts forever. Eventually, you have to come out of it. And that brings us to the final phase from the study. Phase 3, the exit. This is that moment you snap back from being totally immersed and return to, well, normal reality.
And according to the research, this happens in one of 2 ways. The first is pretty straightforward. You finish what you were doing. The second way is when something unexpected breaks your focus. You make a mistake, or something interrupts you, and poof, it's gone.
Here's a perfect example of that second one, the abrupt exit. Listen to this climber from the study. He was totally in the zone, and then just one tiny slip of the foot was all it took to just shatter that concentration and yank him right back to reality.
Now, let's contrast that with the other way out. For this musician, the flow ends naturally, right when the performance does. The conductor stops, there's that beat of silence, and then the applause starts. That's the signal. Okay, we're back. The exit is literally part of the experience.
So when you put all this together, what's the big takeaway? It's that flow isn't this mysterious, random thing that just happens to you. Once you understand these phases, you can start to see it for what it really is, a trainable skill, something you can actually work on and get better at.
And it's not a one-and-done journey either. It's a cycle you can repeat. You prepare, you enter, you exit. But, and this is so important, there's a fourth step that makes the whole thing sustainable: recovery. Think about it. That intense focus literally uses up your brain's resources, so you have to actively rest to recharge those batteries. That's what lets you jump back into the cycle again and again.
All right, so let's put this all together into a practical toolkit for you. Here's what you need to do. Number 1, set goals that are clear, challenging, and controllable. Number 2, be absolutely ruthless about eliminating distractions. Number 3, do the work to find your personal sweet spot between challenge and skill. 4, use simple tools like breathing to manage your anxiety. And finally, number 5, you have to schedule time for recovery. It's not optional.
Okay, but how do you find that perfect sweet spot? You know, the one between too hard and too easy. Well, researchers actually have a number for it, which is kind of wild. They say you should aim for a challenge that's about 4% beyond what you can currently do. Just 4%. Any more than that, you get anxious. Any less, you get bored. That 4%, that's the magic number for triggering flow.
And, at the end of the day, this is about so much more than just being productive. Chasing flow is about building a sustainable way to be a high performer. It's a path that lets you be incredibly productive, sure, but without sacrificing your well-being. It's about doing great work and actually feeling good while you do it.
It's this amazing state that can turn even the hardest work into a genuinely joyful experience. So really, there's only one question left to ask. Where are you going to find your flow?